In this episode, the Keriner 1 blows by Moho, Madby and Orlin go hunting for a Baobab tree, and the EVE 1 and EVE landers move very slowly around Gilly. All of this and more is coming up right now. Hello everyone, and welcome to the penultimate episode of this season. Yeah, we just got one more after this one. We've got a lot going on, so let's get into Alarm Clock and take a look at what's happening. We got the Keriner 1, it's closing in on Moho. And then what's going to be the bulk of this episode is going to be the EVE 1 and the EVE landers, and they're not just going to be flying by EVE like the Keriners have been, but getting captures and doing all kinds of stuff. But the reason why I'm time warping here is for this KOS recycling contract, which is borked. That's why I got an alarm for it. This is to keep some Kerbals up in space for 365 days. That is now complete, so it is now time to rotate. I figured there's another good opportunity to do a crew rotation. So here we have Verbary flying up Hades and Bill, a new scientist and a new engineer. Verbary's actually going to come back down. She's just sort of the ferry pilot, as it were. And Hades and Bill are going to be replacing Orlin and Madby. So Hades and Bill go up, Orlin and Madby are coming down. Colonel Valley is going to be staying up as the pilot and commander of Urban Station. And unlike the end of last episode, this rendezvous went without any incidents. So we're not going to spend any more time with it than basically we already have, because, well, this episode I really want to be interplanetary. Alright, so just a quick reminder of what's going on here with the Keriner 1. Let's scroll out. So right now we're pretty much as far away from Kerbin as we're ever going to get. So our signal strength is only 7%, but can only get better. The plan here is for it to just simply go around. There's no burns for it to do. It's going to fly by Moho right about here, and that's going to put it into this purple orbit, which you can see has an altitude a little bit lower than the blue orbit. So Moho is giving us a little bit of a slowdown using its gravity. We're stealing a smidge of Moho's momentum. Is what we're really doing. Actually, no, we're not. We're giving a little bit of momentum to Moho. Actually, really, we're not doing that either because the planet's on rails. But, you know, that's kind of the physical theory behind it. And then, once we're past Moho, we'll hopefully collect whatever science we can. But then what we'll do is we'll adjust again so that when we fly by Moho another time, each time we'll bring this purple orbit down so that hopefully eventually we'll have enough that we can get ourselves a capture around Moho. Let's see how it goes. It's obviously going to take a long time, but right now what we need to do is clearly time warp the 69 days it's going to take to get there. There's Moho down below us. You can see we're coming in. We're coming in on a pretty inclined orbit. We are collecting all kinds of science. We'll also turn on our SCANsat radar altimeter. Unfortunately, I have no contracts associated with Moho. None have come up, so we are just here, well, for the science and for the giggles, I suppose. Let's see, how is this doing? Hopefully our hard drive won't get too full. Seems to be doing alright. Okay, get back to here so we can actually watch the science. It's the radiation scan that's taking the longest. Yeah, temperature scan's almost done, so just come on down. And there's not much for do. There's no corrections, there's no nothing. We're just gonna blow right past Moho. There we go. We're transmitting all kinds of science. How's our data? It's all gone. All right. And at some point we'll get into low space and we will start to, here goes the great big potato of space. We're going to be coming in within 24 kilometers of the surface and we are booting it. Look at that. 5.9 kilometers per second. Let's slow ourselves down here so we can appreciate. Actually, this is just to give us a sense of speed here. I have turned the time warp completely off. We are not going to quite hit 5.9 kilometers per second for our relative velocity. That is why a capture is not in the cards, but collecting science certainly is. A radiation scan is still running here. Oh, Moho has some kind of magnetic sphere. Okay, let's. What does Moho's magnetic sphere look like? 1? There it is. So we did kind of. Oh, we very briefly blasted through this belt, I think. Maybe. Like there's. Oh, there. Oh, look at that. Neato. So we're coming through this. Very, very cool. So there's a belt here, actually, to be honest, I think I might have come right inside of it. And then there's this one. Very nice. Okay, let's turn that all off. How are we doing with our probe? We have pretty much had our encounter. We're back into high space again. So I think all of the science that we're going to collect has been collected. Oh no, we're still collecting radiation science. That's still going. Oh, because we're still in that magnetic sphere there. What's it say? Yeah. Magnetosphere. So, cool, cool, cool. But once we're out of that, we're almost out of this zone here. Once we're out of this zone here, that science will be complete. So you can see we're not going to get it all. That's okay. Still got lots to transmit, though. Nice. Nicey nice. Nicey nice. Oh, we got some world milestones, don't we? Yes, we have initiated our first flyby of Moho, and we have gathered our first scientific data from Moho. Indeedy we have. So if you have been keeping track, that is now our 4th interplanetary encounter. If you count Ike, we've orbited Duna, we have orbited Ike, we have flown by Eve, and now we have flown by Moho, and later in this episode, we will hopefully not only be orbiting Eve, but also Gilly and landing on both of those 2 surfaces. We'll see how that goes. But right now that we're outside of Moho's sphere of influence, it's time to set ourselves up a resonance orbit. So what I want to do is create, the period of my orbit right now is longer than Moho's orbit. So what I want to do is go around a certain number of times so that at some point we will return back to here. Now, what I also want to be doing is reducing what my current apoapsis is with the sun. I don't want this orbit getting larger, only smaller. So, in order to do that, I have to figure out what kind of resonance I need. And I don't want to take this too long because, for instance, maybe I want to do 2 orbits while Moho does 1, or no, actually it'd be the other way around. I would have to do more orbits, but maybe I would do 1 orbit while Moho does 2, or that kind of a thing. But what you end up doing is finding, oh, that means I got to push my apoapsis out, which is the opposite of what I want to do. So I need to bring that ratio down. 2 to 1 is too high. So the next thing you do is to go to 3 to 2, and then go to 4 to 3. I can do this. And the lowest ratio I can get is 6 to 5. That actually brings this apoapsis down. And that brings, I'll keep my periapsis the same, but if I bring my apoapsis down from its current, what's that, about 7,729 megameters, down to 7,589 megameters, I get a period that is 6/5 of Moho's period. So what that ends up meaning is Moho will do 5 orbits, we'll do 6, and at that time we will be meeting back here again. So let's set up a maneuver just ahead of our spacecraft here. Let's see here. Yeah, well, do it this way. Because we want to perform this maneuver like right now. Okay, I'll give ourselves a few minutes to set up the burn here. And again, what I need is my apoapsis here to be 7,590, so that's too much, so we'll move that outwards. It's pretty close. And our periapsis, which was, it has changed to 3,700, so I need that to be bigger, so that's going to require some of a radial component. So let's try radially in. Yep, that brings it. That needs to be, yeah, I've already forgotten. What's that? 3,774. There we go. And this is still at 74. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. All right, so we're going to live with this burn. So this burns about 67 meters per second. Let's put this on here, and we can just do this right now. The vector is really what's the important piece more than anything else. Put that right there. And then what I'm looking at is actually these guys here. So, come on, right there. Just do it. Do it. Again, 7,590. I need that. $500. Just looking at my Apple apps. Let's turn this down a bit. That's pretty good. And what's, oh, and our periapsis is 3,774. I believe that is what I wanted. Megameters. Good, good, good. So this should pretty much do it. So we've now set up an orbit, in theory, that we will go around 6 times. Moho will go around 5 times. And at that moment, we should be back to here. Now, we can put this to the test, I'm pretty sure, by putting a maneuver right there at the equatorial, or not the equatorial, the relative descending node with Moho. And let's give ourselves like a tiny bit of retrograde. But what I should be finding is if I go ahead 6 orbits, so 1, 2, 3, oh, 3 orbits. I'm gonna say forget, okay. Oh no, but that's probably the orbit after that. I don't know. Whatever. We're close together. I did something right. And you know what I'm gonna do? Is I'm gonna tweak. No, it is 6 or oh my god, I lost count. But this is already 1 orbit ahead, the maneuver node, and then the encounter is another orbit ahead of that. I don't know, I'll have to go over my counting again, but we can tweak this closest approach. There we go. We're getting ourselves another Moho encounter. And that Moho encounter is going to be in a year and 189 days. So do not hold your breath. But we will be returning to Moho once again, and hopefully collecting ourselves a little bit more science. Let's get back to Kerbin. And here we find, well, Madby and Orlin, who are my highest level engineer and scientists that I have available. Madby now is level 4, and this is largely due to those wonderful Kerbal Academy contracts. They seem to really love throwing these Madby's way. She has 25 experience from specialist experience. It's just those Academy contracts. And also Orlin, who's now level 2 scientist, and they got aboard the brand new, recently unlocked KRASH light scanning arm. We're gonna put this to the test. I've never used it before. We've got a contract to use the scanning arm to scan a Baobab tree, which apparently we can find in the grasslands. So our mission is simply to head out towards the grasslands and see what we can find. I'm noticing here I need to transmit. I did not put an antenna on this thing. We'll see. I may have messed this up. So I do see a lot of trees, but I'm assuming, as in most of these all kind of look the same, that these are just actually the tree texture. But we'll drive up close to one just for giggles, but I'm pretty sure this is a texture. Now, in case this is solid, I am going to reduce my speed. Question is, oh yeah, through the tree we go, out the other side. Okay, so clearly that is just a terrain texture. And I know there are people saying, why don't you turn off the terrain textures? And it's like, I like the terrain textures, because if you turn off the terrain textures, of course, then the only trees you will see are your trees you're trying to collect science from. I'm looking over this way. Looking for a Baobab tree. Okay, this is ridiculous here because, like, this really is like a needle in a haystack full of needles. This is ridiculous. There's one! There's one right there! Okay. Okay, what bearing, where are we at? Okay, keep going. I saw one! Oh my god, this is ridiculous. And it's probably not going to work because I don't have an antenna to transmit anyway, but... Let's see. Approach the tree ever so cautiously. Coming right beside it here. Maybe a little closer? I don't know. Oh, I'm seeing, yeah. I'm seeing a scan option coming up now. Just gotta get, I think, close enough. Again, it's this typical terrain, texture, collision nonsense. Stop. Scan Baobab tree. Okay. There you go. I do like the animation. It is adorable. Okay. Did anything happen there? Oh, we got science. We have 5.4 now. I probably can't obviously this is the old system. Kerbalism isn't happy right now. Can I transmit? I don't think that just transmitted, did it? So if I go to here, I don't think that worked. Oh, there's data here. 16.2 science. But I can't transmit it. So it is kind of working with... Let's try this one more time. Let's do this. I think I messed up by not putting an antenna on this thing. Man, there's a lot of work for a big bunch of nothing. It says 16.2 science earned. Oh! Contract complete. So recovering it seems to be enough. Alright, let's get back out there. Okay, we're here with the Eve 1. Just crossed into Eve's sphere of influence, and this time, no silly Keriner flybys, no blowing by and heading off someplace else. This one's going for a capture. And actually what the plan is, let's get in here on Eve, is to get a capture. I'm going to have to do, I think, well... I don't know. Let's see if we what we got. But the idea is to get a capture and also to get around Gilly. So we want to do, this is a mapping satellite essentially, and I want to get it actually first around Gilly, then around Eve, but we're going to use Eve to sort of get us towards Gilly. Now let's, it'd be great if this could come in the same plane, but it's not necessary. We'll make this work. What I am thinking, I might want to make it, I want to get in as close as I can, as close as I dare to Eve. No arrow breaking or anything silly like that, but I would like, Maybe get this down to 100 kilometers. Closer I can get this to Eve. Although, to be honest, probably this much of a change isn't making that big a deal. That's good. Okay. So, we're going to put our maneuver right here at periapsis for our capture. Snap that right to periapsis there, my friend. Oh, we're doing an autosave. There we go. Right to periapsis. And get our capture here. So our capture, where are we at? We're at about 400 meters. Oh, this is not going to work very easily, is it? Oh, I was not thinking. Okay, we'll deal with it. What we're going to do, we're going to have to leave this out as far as we dare. That's clearly too far. That's nice and far. And what we're going to be needing to do is doing a burn at the I don't know if that's the ascending or the descending node, but right around here where we cross Gilly's plane. And the further out that is, the better. So that's why if I do... Whoops, that's the wrong way. If I do this... But it's not that much further out, is it? And then that makes it... Oh, we'll live with this. Okay, so that's going to be our capture. This rather sucks. But it is what it is. So that burn is going to be in a couple of days. But in the meantime, we do have our Eve landers on approach. So let's jump out to them. The plan with this one, let's just show it here. We have 3 landers. Top one here is to land on Gilly. Can probably do a few hops too. And then we have these 2 trash cans of doom that are meant to descend through Eve's atmosphere. But our first job is again to get a Gilly capture and drop this one off and get it down to the surface. And again, let's get ourselves a look at what our situation is here. This one's better. I'm debating. Let's see this. What's this capture like? Again, let's add a maneuver. Let's think about this a little bit. Maybe I can improve the Eve 1's approach too. Can snap that to periapsis. And see, this one's much better. So what I'm considering is, what if I put another maneuver here? To pin these guys. Bring time really in nice and close. I'll probably do this. The sooner I do this burns, probably the better. What I'm considering is, if I can get that periapsis to come northward, so it's into the plane of Gilly. So we're not going to try and match the plane. See how that's bringing that down? That's what I want to see. This is a trivial little burn. Oh, this is worth it. This is so worth it. I'm very, very happy with that. Snap that back to periapsis. Yep, I like that a lot. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. So we'll do this little normal correction first. It's only 13 meters per second, and then this gets more the kind of orbit I want. And then we'll get back to the Eve 1, and we'll see if we can not do much the same thing. Sorry, so this is sort of showing that, you know, to get that encounter with Gilly, you don't have to match planes with Gilly. Like my plane of this resulting orbit isn't the same inclination as Gilly's orbit, but you do want to get kind of that, at least a part of the orbit to match. So it's not about matching inclinations, it's just about, I don't know, matching at least the right parts of the orbit. We got a sight low. Oh, we're doing the burn. Oh, it's still collecting and it's transmitting it as fast as it's collecting it. We're going to be coming back here because we're not going to get our Gilly encounter right away. So the site low is not biome specific. But it takes about an hour to collect it all, so might just leave you into this orbit for a while. Okay, the burn is complete. How'd we do here? I am perfectly cool with that. And what I was thinking about was actually starting to tweak, because what I want to do is get into a polar orbit about Gilly. That's kind of my goal. So that was going to be making this into a phasing orbit, but so that, you know, we can time our approach and hit Gilly on the next orbit. But I kind of want to leave it in this orbit for a while. Let's get our capture though with our landers. We're going to be watching, and I think we got radiation scanning to do. Like if I go to Eve, there it is, and put on the radiation, like we're going to be blasting through this radiation belt. And all through that we're going to be, or the magnetosphere, all through that we're going to be collecting science, hopefully, I think. I don't think well, we'll find out soon enough. But in the meantime, well, we got to do the same thing with this fella, so thrust up the full. Okay. Alright, let's get this done. 3, 2, 1, and go. Oh, we got, of course, milestones to take a look at, too. This has got to be like, what is this? A recent account. We have entered orbit of Eve. Yes, we did. And, oh, that's just a science bus being ready. After I put my antenna on it. Okay, reducing thrust. And boom. Done. Burn complete. We now have our second object going around. Oh, why? Oh, I understand what's going on. Sorry, I saw these numbers clicking up on all the radiation scans, but it's just telling us what science we have. Only one of them is running. Still 5 minutes. I'm not sure we're going to be in here, this area, for 5 minutes. It's not a low... Well, maybe... I don't know. I don't know. But anyway... again, the goal is going to be to get an orbit about Gilly. So let's set that as a target. And let's see if we cannot create ourselves. So we're going to add a maneuver here right at the relative descending node. So that's right where this orbit's crossing Gilly's orbit, which is very close to apoapsis. And what I'm interested in is, I can do this, is trying to create a phasing orbit so that we can encounter Gilly at, you know, some point in the future. Now, what I'm gonna do is just give myself a little bit of prograde and just start pushing this out. This is turning out to be more of a pain than I was thinking it was gonna be. Are we still collecting that radiation stuff, or is that done? Nope. No, there's still more to get. I thought so. I think it's lying. Yeah, there's still more to get. Okay. So despite what it says here, there's still more to get. So what I think I shall do is, again, just leave this in this orbit for now. We're going to delete that. We'll let it go around. One more time should do it for this one. And then we'll start playing with this Gilly encounter. And I'm wondering if the inclination change is not expensive out here. Maybe getting the planes to match might not be a bad idea. It should work. Whoops, what'd I say? Add a maneuver at the target descending node. Oh, I am in a communication shadow, so it won't let me do that. No, you know what? I'm going to leave it in this orbit. Just leave it in this orbit. We're going to go around one more time. We're going to collect the rest of that radiation scanning stuff. And we're probably getting lots of science. We're at 339 science here. That's groovy. do this way. There we go. We now have all the radiation scans there are to get, and now, while we still have a signal... Actually, that's not true, because if a solar storm hits us, we got more radiation we can get. But what I want to do is, again, add a maneuver here at the target descending node. And I'm actually going to accomplish a couple of things with this one burn. We're going to combine some burns together. Number one, I do want to get my relative inclination with Gilly's orbit to be pretty cheap, or to be 0. And that shouldn't cost too much. But I want to combine that by creating a phasing orbit that will get us getting to Gilly, hopefully in reasonably short order. It's this jumping around stuff that the nodes do. And I think it's actually less to do with actual orbital mechanics and more to do with just general flakiness of the of the encounter, and Gilly being so small. And so I'm just going to make, kind of abandoning the whole idea of trying to do the plane change and the encounter at the same time. So what I'm doing here is I'm just going to get my relative inclination with Gilly, so I'm right in the same plane as Gilly, get that down to 0. And then once that's done, I'm hoping that will make the working out the encounter easier. So that burn's not coming up for another 2.5 days. Now, how are we doing for collecting science? It's the site experiment, actually, now that I'm interested in. How is that doing? And it's gotten all the low science it can. Okay. So we do have all the low site science now. So let's switch over to EVE 1. Do much the same thing again. What I'm interested in is that Gilly encounter. And again, all this burn is about is to get that relative inclination down to 0. Again, not a very big burn, but now our inclination with Gilly should match, and hopefully that will make finagling an encounter a little bit easier. Here, let's just put a maneuver out here. Just kind of out there. And again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to push this to the next orbit, and I'm watching those there. No, next one. Next one. There. There's a really close encounter. That's just kind of naturally happening. So what I want to do is see if I can not, with some radialness and some normalness, and, well, normalness really shouldn't be an issue. Maybe with some radialness. Let's get it right out like this. Radial, let's see. That's bringing it closer. Now, as I move this around, that makes it... Oh, it's better as I come this way. What if I go way around? Stop it. Just trying to get where would be the cheapest place to make this change. Okay, I think it would be better. Fairly close. Okay. Here, let's try this again. There it is. So that's a 26 meter per second burn, and that's going to get me my encounter with Gilly. Alright, let's play with this. And what I'm going to do is just... we won't hit Gilly, but the idea is that we will go into a polar orbit around Gilly. I got to actually look at what the requirements are. Then, of course, we'll do much the same sort of thing with the EVE landers, which, interestingly, actually, that burn came up first. Yeah, somehow the EVE landers have passed the EVE 1 and are now winning the race. 3, 2, 1. Here it comes. Of course, we're watching this from Gilly because I'd like to sort of match what's here as best I can. If it's anything close, I'm just gonna go with it. I don't want to do the extra ignitions. I think this is gonna be good. Yeah, oh, that's beautiful. Okay, not gonna argue with that one at all. Alright, so that's that, and we will be encountering Gilly's SOI in again just a couple of days. So we'll add that one. Meanwhile, we gotta get over to the Eve one. It's got a similar burn to perform. Beautiful. Beautiful. The landers will be getting to Gilly first, despite the fact that they were the second one to get to Eve. Oh my god, there's Gilly. Believe it or not, we are not in Gilly's SOI just yet. You can see it here. Gilly's SOI is pretty frickin' small, but let's get ourselves into Gilly's SOI. There it is, okay. And let's set up our capture. Got caught a little bit with my pants down there because I forgot how quickly we are booting by Gilly here and how small Gilly's SOI is. So we're just getting in that burn, but I think we're just going to squeeze it in. But science is being transmitted. I'm losing track of my science. Got a radiation scan. Are we still space high? We are still space high. I don't know how close we got to get for space low. Already got off a temperature scan. And anything else? Telemetry report's already taken care of. I'm not convinced we're going to get into space low. How low do you got to go? I can't believe we're not space low yet. Well, I might leave that up for the lander to get the space low stuff. Because I don't want to come in that much closer. Now this thing does not have as much delta V as I was hoping it would have. Oh, I'm a little nervous about getting to Eve with this. Shoot. The other one has tons, but this one has hardly any. Alright, we got our capture. I'm just noticing our delta V situation is not good. I'm not sure I can get back to Eve. Oh no! My Eve lander's gonna go to waste? Shoot, shoot, shoot. I got that 184 meters per second that the game is telling me I have left in this vehicle. And I gotta set it up as an ejection burn from Gilly here, and yeah, my periapsis is coming nowhere near to Eve, and there is not much delta V in those landers. Okay. This will have to be a puzzle for later. Okay, well let's get the Eve 1 in here. So I actually just looked up what low orbit is about Gilly. And it's 6 kilometers, so I'm going to tweak this guy for the sight experiment, or no, it's the might experiment that needs to be in low space and at a polar orbit. So I'm just putting this on the normal vector right now. Is my thrust nice and low? Please, let's get it really low because it's going to be a very small burn. And just going to bring this down, I don't know, 5.5 kilometers, I guess we'll call it. I'm finding that a little nerve-wracking. I'm just worried about hitting one of Gilly's... Oh, shoot, don't get too cocky here. With the... Yeah. Okay, that's good. Alright, let's get to Gilly's SOI. Oh my gosh, this is sketchy. Super sketchy. Because, I mean, Gilly's gonna rotate too, and like, look at these lumpy bits. Sorry, this is making me very nervous. I might just have to put up with part of this being high and part of this being low. It's just, it's too nerve-wracking. Alright, we're gonna do it that way. So how come this thing has so much delta V and my other craft does not? I majorly messed up somehow. We're about to start our burn. God, I hate this. This is so sketchy. I gotta watch this periapsis. I don't want it to dip too low either. Okay, 14 science, space low. For the light experiment. Okay, this periapsis height didn't dip too much and all that. We have our capture. Our inclination should be good. Why is this invalid? Oh, because I'm such a twerp. The might experiment needs a body that has an atmosphere, so it's irrelevant around Gilly. What experiments do we have? What a dope. Okay, where is Gilly? I got too many bodies now I visited. Do not like Gilly. We've got all the light experiment space low. Might is irrelevant because I'm an idiot. The sight experiment is running. Oh, and it is a space low thing. And it's going to take about an hour of time being in space low. So I might just leave it in this orbit for a while and pray nothing crashes. Now let's take a look at our orbit. Is it really sketchy? So I gotta admit, I really hate this. Well, I mean, I would have gone into a polar orbit anyway, or a polar-ish orbit for the mapping satellite. But I don't want to turn on the mapping satellite this low. Let's collect all this low space stuff. Again, it'll take about an hour of this. And again, that's just in the low. But I think I'm going to really have to watch it as Gilly rotates it. None of these lumps. Alright, so why don't we go to our landers and start thinking about, you know, landing. Yeah, we're going to leave you. Okay, actually, let's pay attention to communications. Let's not be dumb. Because we definitely want to land on the communications side. So what we're going to do is we're going to orbit around. And then right around here, we'll once we get our communications back over here, we'll detach that lander and we'll get down and we'll accomplish something on the surface of something. This is our first landing on an interplanetary body. Something that's not either the moon or Minmus or Kerbin. I cannot time warp any faster. Gilly's such a pain in the butt. So we're going to get here this little lander, which is right here. And I don't know, right there's the decoupler. Yeah, we're just going to do this manually. So we're going to decouple. And we're going to go to our lander here. We're going to extend our antenna. Only a communitron. It's going to depend very much on the relays that are on this for doing the landing. Now, you can see I turned that force right down to 0 on that. But the only propulsion it has is all RCS, so that's why this is saying 0. And it's just these RCS thrust reports. That is all the thrust we got. So I think I have them set to the throttle, right? Yes, I do. There we go. So we got a little bit of a puff there. And let's just put this on retrograde and get down. Let's just do this thing. Okay, so we'll look at it from here. It keeps going far out from Gilly. Why am I doing this? Oh my god. Let's take a look at our communication lines here. There we go. I definitely want to land on the communications side. Probably. Oh heck, let's go for this hill right here. Why not? Why not indeed? Right on top of that. So, throttle up here. Oh yeah, I gotta put RCS on. Throttle up. There we go. And I do want to pay attention to this. Gilly is so sketchy. Okay, I'm going to live with that. Alright, that should be good. Let's get on info here. Let's put this on to a normal vector just to give it some solar exposure for when the assignment or when the experiments start to run. Also, you can see on my thrust report, I picked these ones that are bi-directional, so the forward's hooked to the throttle, but I also have some reverse thrust I can use, because when we get down close to Gilly, I think that's going to help me out. Like I said, no, you know what? Let's kill our throttle. We're gonna do it. We're gonna put right here. Let's do this. Let's do this right now. Right here. Right now. Alright, coming down. RCS. Put on the landing gear. Here, and that should turn on the lights as well. It does. And, oh, I'm not even... the suicide bird says 0. Like, oh my gosh. Let's put this onto surface speed. Our relative speed to the surface is only 7 meters per second. And the biggest pain in the back end is going to be is that pretty soon it's going to tell us we can't time warp. There we go. It's forcing us. We cannot time warp. We are still in, believe it or not, we're still in high space. Still got a ways for that, and we can't time warp, so we just have to wait. And that's going to be my pain, not your pain, because you get to see an edited version of this. This is something that's been fixed in 1.10. Well, fixed, I don't know, you can consider this a bug or a feature, I don't know. But in 1.10 you can time warp as much as you want, anywhere you want. But frankly, this is where it's really ridiculous. Okay, we are approaching low space now. That's going to get most of this science clicking on. There we go. Except for the radiation scan, it's already been done. Yeah, because there is no low space radiation scan. So it's just the telemetry report, the temperature scans, both of which are short, so that's good. Because I'm not sure how we'll be down before all this happens. Our electricity is still perpetual, so that's good. Okay, so we're collecting ourselves some low space science. And the seismic scan it won't do until we're actually on the surface. So let's switch this to here. We're only 400 meters above the surface and falling. I kind of like where we are. What do you think? I think so. It's kind of let's kill off the rest of this. Oh, RCS. Kill off the rest of this surface velocity. Okay, we're getting very close to going straight down now. We're only a few hundred meters above the surface. This is going... Oh, I'm still in orbit. Oh my gosh. Why did it switch? I hate that. I hate that so much. What am I doing here? Doing alright. Doing alright. A little bit of an issue there with the orbit thing. Okay. Coming down. Let's really start slowing down here. Just above the surface. Really have very little sense of where that surface is other than this. Oh, here, I'm getting some sort of a reflection. Oh, and I'm seeing my shadow. There we go. Excellent, excellent. I guess more like rendezvousing with Gilly than actually landing, isn't it? And what I'm going to be ready for is just a bit of a tough with the N. See, just a little puff down. That really helped. SAA's off, and we are down. We are down on Gilly. Collecting all kinds of science. I'm going to call that one a win. Yes, now notice the seismic scan, right? Okay, let's just check. Electricity still perpetual. The seismic scan takes, it's 97.2 science, so it's more than worth it. And it is biome specific. We are, I can see now, in Gilly's Highlands. But it's gonna take 15 days to collect it all. So we're gonna have to leave this fella here for a while our relay continues going around. Of course, during some intervals, the relay is gonna drop below the horizon and we're gonna lose our communication because certainly this little communitron cannot communicate with Kerbin directly. But once all that science has been collected and transmitted, we're definitely going to be doing some biome hopping with this thing. It's still got a ton of monopropellant on it, but you know, that's going to have to be for the future. Yeah, this episode is drawing to a close. I will also let you know that for next episode, I do solve the mystery as to why my Duna probes, why that vessel had so much less delta V than the other. I'll let you know that the reason does lean to the mundane, so don't put too much thought into it. And also, don't count that EVE landing out yet. No, I do have an idea on how to approach it and still be able to use the resources we do have around the EVE system to get a functional probe down to the surface of EVE, but all that is going to have to be for next episode. So I thank you for watching and hope to see you then.